Hi, welcome today to Enlightenment for Humanity with Judy Jewett. And my guest today is Susan Epstein. So thank you very much for being here, Susan.
Thanks for
So
having
I'd
me.
like to go ahead and begin and tell you a little bit. Thank you, a little bit about myself. And then I'm going to tell you about this extraordinary guest that we have today. So I am the founder of the Real Healing Methods. Through the turmoil, chaos in the world today, the Real Healing Methods is a way to stay grounded, fearless, and centered in your life. As we become more aware, our senses are heightened to see and know so much more. We have to adjust and recenter ourselves with the daily changes in the world. We are all being challenged every day from the media, the government, community, country, and global influence, not knowing who to trust and not to trust. The Real Healing Methods is a natural, highly effective personal way to heal yourself. Real Healing Methods enables a person to communicate directly with themselves and instantaneously release and heal negative beliefs, imprints, and patterns. That is a technique that I have not been using online. However, I'm going to start doing that today after our show. And I'm just going to start people in the process. And with that, I do want to share about our guest. I met Susan probably in January and
Yeah.
met you in on the community online. Your services are phenomenal, and I do want to share that. I want everyone who is listening to know if you have a business, make sure you stay until the end because Susan is going, as a business coach, is going to be sharing the overwhelmed solutions of things that can help you during now. It's also for healers, it's for intuitives, it's for conscious people who are wanting to stay centered and take the next step on their path. So, with that being said, Susan was a psychotherapist in a private practice for 25 years. She launched her first coaching business in 2005. Susan was a pioneer in the parent coaching industry and founded the Parent Coach Academy with a parent coach certification program. She has trained and certified hundreds of parenting coaches. So, parents out there, if you have children, make sure you stay. This is really valuable things for you. In 2015, Susan pivoted and launched her newest business, highly profitable practice. She is a business coach and strategist working with coaches, therapists, and healers to build their practices and then leverage their time. She does this through offering master classes, masterminds, group coaching programs, and individual coaching. Susan coaches her clients to follow her model by focusing on taking consistent action, eliminating distraction, finding their one thing. Okay, with that being said, I would like to welcome Susan. Hello, Susan,
Hi, Judy.
which we've already said hello, but I want to do a formal invitation or a formal introduction. I'm sorry with that. So, with that, tell me a little bit because you're using, we're talking about your expertise with parents.
hmm
And I know you're also a mother besides being a therapist for 25 years. But I
Yeah.
also want to go into the with parents but also with business owners
hmm
that are really finding a lot of overwhelm at this time, so we're going to address a lot of different people now on the platform StreamYard. I am not, and you're not able really to see who is watching, so we will make sure after the show that I give you the link and you can make sure that all of your people that are able to watch this and get some more tips today.
Great.
So tell us how you incorporate the parents and then going into another stream of people, which would be the business owners. How do you do that? Incorporate both.
Well, my business coaching right now is my primary business. The parent coaching is something that I do when I'm called upon. So it's not something that I'm actually leading with anymore. I did last October publish another book in that area. Um, but it's kind of a little bit, I would say, more dormant for me because my newest passion, and probably because my kids are older, they're 31 and 35, and I'm in a different phase in my life too, that I'm wanting to expand and help. But a lot of what the overlap for me is that parenting coaches come to me to help them with their businesses. So I'm still touching the parents, but I'm doing it in a probably like, a more like, you know, further out way, but tapping into other people who will help them as well.
Thank you for that, for the clarification. Just so people that are listening after me reading your bio understand that a little bit more. So with overwhelm, are you finding that your business people are experiencing overwhelm in this time in 2020?
Yeah. I think that with the virus, the overwhelm for some people, it was to how to try to figure out how to pivot because a lot of, I would say maybe half of the people that I know or work with have businesses that depend on meeting people live. So going to networking groups and not really sitting on Zoom or Skype or something like that for their businesses. And I heard a lot of people were getting overwhelmed and tired with video and computer fatigue because that's not how they were running their businesses. So figuring out how to take breaks and not stay on the video all day long and how to pace themselves with their meetings. I think once people kind of figure it out, it becomes like, wow, this is pretty cool, that I can do a virtual coffee now. And it was never in their wheelhouse that they could do that. So there's some silver linings in here that has given people some freedom. I think also when you work at home, which I've been doing for over 35 years, you have to establish boundaries with yourself and with your family. And I know that some people are overwhelmed by their responsibilities with educating their children and cooking meals and trying to do their work. And maybe you live in a place where you don't have any privacy. So figuring out where your office is going to be now that you're working from home, whether you're homebound because your business says you have to work from home, or it's your own business, depending on wherever you are. I think people are, almost every single person I know is not going into the office. Or maybe they're doing it, but maybe once a week or something. So I think people can get overwhelmed with, and I think a lot of us too are like getting breaks from cooking by going out. And now like we're thinking about, I know that we're sitting down every Sunday like I used to when my kids were little and planning out the week menu. I'm not so much wing dinging it anymore. I'm actually saying Monday is this and Tuesday is that. And do we have all the groceries and are we organized? And do we have everything that we need to make food for the family for the whole week so that my husband, who's the shopper, doesn't have to keep running back and forth to the grocery store more than once. So a lot of details that we used to do in our lives before we had such a takeout society, I think, we're kind of going back to that. But I think, Judy, for you and me, it's like, I mean, that's how I pretty much grew up and raised my kids. And all of that was, it was only the past 10 or 15 years that we've had this different type of society.
That is true. And I've used an online platform for a while, for the last 3 or 4 years. So for me to see clients, for me, there's no separation. Now, the
Right.
difference is I can't network. That would be my business, the office is going out and meeting new people to continually bring in the tribe of new clients. So
Right.
where I feel myself of the overwhelm is, as much as I love online, I still haven't perfected to reaching out to people that need me.
Right.
And that's the part where I do feel overwhelmed. That and I've been, I mean, this is nothing new this isn't because of virus. This is because this has been what my struggle has been for the
Right.
last 2 or 3 years anyway. Yeah.
Right.
So and I'm a people person
Yeah.
that I would rather be in front of people. But once I have a client, unless they need to see me in person, honestly, with my techniques, I can do about everything internationally anywhere, through Zoom, like
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah. And
So we have that. Right.
I haven't worked face to face with people in years. I was doing live events. I'm not doing those now. So that's a pivot for me as well. So I think we're just all trying to figure it out, right? Um, and
Right.
again, I think that
Right.
the
You are.
boundaries in at home can get a little bit fuzzy, you know.
They can get fuzzy and the boundaries, but I think that as a business owner or a parent or a healer or an intuitive, whoever is watching,
Mm-hmm.
our live today, or it's actually more than a live, it's a podcast, it's a TV show. So I guess is that we have an undercurrent going on. We have an undercurrent of what is happening in the world. We have an undercurrent of the media. We don't know who to trust. We don't know what to trust. We just don't know what to do. And we're continually getting bombarded, more than ever. We're getting it on Facebook. We're getting it on the news. We're getting it in other social media platforms. A lot of people expressing their concern of what is really happening. And I think that that is something that is part of the real overwhelm, whether you're working, I mean, we're all working from home or you're in the business, like you're saying. If you're
Yeah.
not owning your own business, well, you could own your own business and obviously go to an office. That absolutely is true. So those are some of the things that I think is real that we have to address, is that overwhelm that is an undercurrent, that is going on 24/7. It
You
is
know, it's
going on, it's been going on for months, and it's not getting any easier.
it's
Would you
interesting.
agree?
I agree, and it's interesting because my mom moved in with us about a month ago, 2 months ago, and she was in high school during World War II, and so the undercurrent then was the war, and so everything that the country was going through was about the war. You didn't have a conversation unless it was about the war, and this is the first time since then that we've had this global thing that everybody is in and everybody's involved in and everybody's curious about and wondering. And but this time it's here, it's in the US, it's in our schools, it's in our nursing homes, it's everywhere. So everybody that I talk to knows somebody who's sick, or is afraid they might get sick, or is afraid, or is wondering when are we going back to normal. And so we have to manage that. We have to manage that, um, so that we can keep our anxiety in check, because it can be very difficult for people to, especially. I mean, I've been talking to a lot of, here's the parenting thing. A lot of clients of mine have kids in their 20s, and they're home with them, and the kids are really mad. The kids are like, my life is messed up. I can't go back to college. What am I going to do? A couple that graduated can't get jobs. Like, it's not the life that they thought. And of course, at that age, you're extremely idealistic, and you're going to graduate college and you're going to get your best job and you're going to go on and get your apartment and do the things that you want to do. And life has stopped. And now you're back with mom and dad again. And so I know a lot of kids are getting anxious and depressed. And so the parents are then not only managing their own anxiety and worries and fears about their livelihood and what's going to happen, but also their kids, or not being able to see their parents who might live hundreds of miles away and not having access to, grandma and grandpa.
I agree. I agree. And people in a nursing home or a facility that end up dying, and you can't be in there with them,
No.
or in the hospital or delivering a baby. I mean, there is so much that is happening that we always took for granted. Why wouldn't we?
Right.
We've always had the freedom to do what we need to do, right? I mean, it's all that undercurrent. And some people think the vaccine is the solution. I don't see that at all. I see that we have to heal the trauma. We have to get out of this 3 dimension, meaning that we're going to die. This is going to happen. All these things are happening. And this is my now new reality. And now I'm scared. And now I'm angry. I mean, we have to rise above that. And that's a lot harder than what you think. Because as long as you have trauma, as long as you have anger, as long as you are living this controlled, refined, quote, reality, it's not as easy as you think to get out of. Right? It's not.
Right.
And getting a vaccine isn't going to make the undercurrent go away. You're still going to have the fear. You're still going to have these things until you release it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a with the background as a therapist, I mean, as a spiritual healer, I mean, this is what I know in my expertise of over 20 years. So I get it. So this is a very candid conversation, and I really appreciate your honesty that we can dive deep and be real. And I love it because I had no perceived idea of what we were doing. We did a prayer, in this energy to allow whatever we need to talk about to take place. In your coaching with parents, that are your clients already in business. And you have a beautiful way of soothing people and helping people, by the way. You have a beautiful gift to do that through your voice, through that empathetic person, the compassionate person that you are. And I just really honor you and your gifts to be able to do that. So let me ask you, what is one way that you could say that business owners, mothers, healers, intuitives, whoever is listening that is conscious to do this, what is a tip of a way that you find the balance that you can share with them?
So the first one that I would share is asking yourself, is this the best use of my time? And because I think that we can all get distracted. And I think for me, it's like, we don't know how much time we have. We don't. And this virus has really showed us that anybody can get sick. It's kind of right there, and you could, probably more chance of getting the virus than we used to say, than getting hit by a bus, right? So you really have asking yourself, like, if I'm like playing video games and I could be reading James Joyce because I wanted to read a classic, is playing a video game or reading James Joyce the best use of my time with the time I have left on the planet? How do I want to use my time? And for business, I always ask myself that every morning when I get onto my email, like, is reading through all this email junk the best use of my time? Probably not. The best use of my time is going through the most important things that need my attention. And later, when I'm tired, maybe in the evening, scanning through the junk and the spam to make sure nothing's wonky, because I want to be, fully present when I'm doing the things that are the best use of my time.
That is good. What is the best use of my time? You're right. We can sit around, we can watch TV, play cards, go through emails. We can do little things, but is that the best use of our time? And we only have today, right? That's all we're guaranteed for at this moment is today.
Yeah. And we all have the same 24 hours. So right. Yeah.
Right. I'm writing these down because I am going to add them when I put it back up. So what is the best use of my time? And you know what? It brings you to such gratitude that you have this moment of time, that you have this day for true expression of what you want to do and share with other people. It's not about, well, I can't go out, I can't do this, I can't do that. No, you can do all those things. What is the best use? What expression of the soul do you want to show up today? What is the best expression of your brilliance, your gifts, of your family that you want to share today without any limitation? You know, what is that? That is perfect.
Yeah.
That is absolutely perfect. What is another tip? So that is your first, that's one tip. What would be another tip? It's number
So
two.
the second question I asked myself, is this the best use of my talents? Example of that might be, is cleaning my house the best use of my talents? Or is building relationships for my business a better use of my talents, right? And maybe you are an expert.
I love that. That's what I ask my when I have to clean.
You know? And here's the thing, we all can clean our house better than anybody else, but it doesn't mean it's the best use of our talents. Should I be making my own website, or should I be talking to people? Is that the best use of my talent, to sit on all weekend long trying to figure out how to do a landing page? Or is that the best use of somebody else's talent who really knows how to do it, knows what they're doing, right? So I always ask myself that too, like, is this a lane I should be in, or is this something that needs to get outsourced to somebody else? You know, I think a lot
You
that
know,
came up.
that
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
I was just going to say that a lot came up for us because things started breaking, you know, and we didn't want to have anyone come in the house and fix them. So my husband, he actually got like more talented, like over the past 3 months with researching and fixing things. And he fixed the gutter outside. So now, like, the best use of his talent is definitely fixing that thing, because he did it for $60 and it would have cost us $700 to have some guy come over and hang off the house and do the same thing, right? So now that's the best use of his talent. And probably his time. So,
I like that.
right? Yeah. Before,
yes,
no.
I like it. Right. Well, and the other thing is it's still the same, what I want to bring up. But because of our conditions have changed, then people are looking more seriously at their finances. Not everyone. Should I spend the money? Should I do this? Or it's, oh my God, I don't have a job because my office shut down and I'm in a whole different, spin of things. And is this, I don't have the money to do it. Well, this opens up a whole new area, because this isn't about, do I have the money? It is about creating at that higher dimension, the fifth dimension, of what it is you want. So if it is the best use of your talent or it's not, then go to, what would it be like to have this done? Or why is it better to outsource it? And you open up to the possibilities to allow things to be created in the energy of creating, of abundance, to allow another way to come. So maybe you don't have the money and yet you're open to it. You never know what's going to transpire. So if it is the best use of our talent, because you're really talking about times, Susan, you're talking about the time, you're talking about people can't come into your house. So your way of operating isn't really of a lack thinking at all. Okay. So it is opening up and expanding, which I love. So for the listeners, for the people that are listening, that are saying to themselves, I don't have the money. How can I do this? I'll have to do it. I'm saying, no, don't go back and do that. Be open to the question.
Right.
If this is not the best use of my talent, wow, what can I create so it'll come to me and I'll still get what I need without spending the 20 hours figuring out how to do it, right?
That's right.
Right. So even in this time that our lives have changed, don't fall into I have to do it myself because I don't have the money and da 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 da, or I better save it for a rainy day because of the virus, the pandemic. No, you're still in fear.
Right.
Susan is telling you exactly what to do from empowerment. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So, what would be the third step we're going to discuss today?
It's a little brutal, but I like to call it kill your best ideas.
Kill your best ideas?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, oh, I should write a book, which is a really great idea. And you have a really great idea for your book. But when you look at the time and the talents and the abilities that you have, is it going to take you into a lane where the other things that are really important to you don't get the attention they need? And then you're on a distraction drive. So it could be something like, I'm not going to write the book now, but I will write the book and I'll think about that again in January and I'll put it on my to-do list for January to revisit the idea. If I still want to write the book, then I'll write the book in January. So you could say kill or move or say some, later, but actually make an appointment with yourself. Don't, and then we do have really great ideas that are really wacky. You can kill those and let them go. Like I should, despite the coronavirus, I should take 10 people on a cruise ship right now. Probably not a great idea. But it sounds fun, So we tend to, it's kind of like, no matter how often you clean your closet, it always gets jammed up again with more stuff. And that's what happens in our head. We take on more things that we want to think about and to do and the one way that I've been able to keep my business streamlined, focused, and successful is to constantly declutter it, just like my closet and my house. When I read Marie Kondo's book, that changed my life. She also
What
said
book is that?
it's called the something art of tidying up. And she has this suggestion that you go to your bookshelf and you hold the book in your hand and you say, does this bring me joy? And when I did that, which each of the books in my bookshelf, the only ones that brought me joy were my poetry books. All the books from college that I'd been saving, all the psych books and all that stuff was like, no, that was a bad memory. But for some reason, it's still on the bookshelf. Freud, oh no, he does not bring me joy. That's going out. And I'm down to my poetry books and a few novels that I still have in paperback that I want to pass on to somebody that I love to read. That brings me joy. And so going through your closet, but going through your business, going through your stuff, whatever your stuff is, if it's your inner stuff, it's your outer stuff, does it bring you joy? And if the answer is no, move it. Donate it. Say, I'll do it in January, and then see if you still want to in January. Because we all get sucked into, especially now, this is a really funny story. We have a refrigerator and the freezer's on the bottom. My mother is now 4'8". So when she goes to the refrigerator, it's this big double door thing. She can't reach the two top shelves and I can't find the butter. She can never find anything. So we're like, well, you know what? We just need to get a new refrigerator. We just need to so for 3 days of the weekend, we're online looking at all the places and oh, it's $1,000. Well, when we get our next stimulus check, we'll just, get it and be done with it. And then mom can reach the refrigerator. And then at the end of the weekend, we're all just looking at each other going, it works. Let's just go back to that refrigerator and figure out how we can arrange the stuff that mom can reach it. It didn't really need, but that's that impulsiveness that we, as humans, we get excited about it. Oh, it'd be really pretty. We'll get in black instead of stainless, and then it won't get all fingerprinted. And, I was ready to if Best Buy had been open, I would have been there, buy in the thing. So, but I'm pulling myself back and saying, well, wait a minute. Why don't we just wait and see if we can make it work? And if it still doesn't work by the end of the year, maybe it'll break first, and then we'll have an excuse to buy a new refrigerator, right? So, but that's just like a simple example of how you can get sucked into something, a shiny object, right? We call them shiny objects.
Well, you do. And I do think because the energy has changed so much of what we've been going through that it causes us to be more emotional, maybe, and more compulsive. And,
But
and I
also,
think that's,
yeah, but we also get our rationalization goes up. Oh, I'm not going out to dinner anymore, so I'm saving all that money. I'm not going out to dinner, so I
right,
might as well get a refrigerator and new pots and pans, and everything is fine. But it's like I need to get my kitchen stocked up. I need to have like so much food in here in case there's a famine, that we begin to like huddle in and nest in out of anxiety and nervousness, which is interesting. My mom, we're having the bathroom redone for my mother, another little story, and she took up to my daughter's room, and she can't get into her other bedroom, and she's wearing jeans and t-shirts and whatever she's wearing, and she's like, this is really weird. And I'm like, what? She goes, I have like hundreds of clothes. She does. She's got a lot of clothes and a lot of shoes. She says, and I'm okay. Nobody sees me. I'm not going anywhere. But she always looks classic and nice with her little tied jeans with a little tie. She's just at her, whatever. But like, we're all just realizing that at the end of the day, we can do with a lot less than we are used to, right? So it's this lesson of I don't need so much, and I don't need to crowd my head with so much, and I just need one idea that can take me here, or a hobby or some interest that I can really get into right now and really feel like I've mastered that, instead of doing things, like this, like whack-a-mole.
yeah. And partly that's coming from anxiety,
Right.
the overwhelm,
Yeah.
and the nervous energy that's what we have to do.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, just take a break. That's great that you have a relationship with your husband and your mother, that you guys all kind of work together,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
really just kind of go through the process to see what is
Mhm.
best.
Yes.
Yeah. And I do know that there's a lot of what I've read. Also, in what I hear, there's just a lot of people struggling in the family of fighting, a lot of issues coming up. So if
Hmm.
you're running a business, you're a parent, you're whatever you're doing, if you're having issues at home, with communication and fighting and all this stuff, I think it's really, you got to stop and take a deep breath,
Yeah.
because it's nothing new is coming up. It's just things I feel that have been bottled up that's coming to the surface to heal.
I agree.
So, and I say, well, right, that's honestly what is happening.
Hmm.
Um, and just sitting back and taking a break and looking at it is probably a good way to sort through what is going on in your life. Anything else you would like to share, business owners? And then I'm going to ask you the same question with
Hmm.
families, with children, or whatever. Is there anything you would like to share with the business folks?
Yeah. Just because you may not be able to go out now, just because there's all this overwhelm and the undercurrent, doesn't mean that you have to give up relationships. Relationships are what we are about. And it's really important, just like Judy and I are talking today, that you reach out and make new friends. There's no reason why you can't. There's plenty of ways to do that through social media, that you reestablish friendships with people that you haven't talked to in years because you got busy. Call your long lost aunt or your third cousin and do, a Zoom cocktail hour with them, reconnect with what's important now. And that will ground you in business and in life for business owners. For parents, take care of yourselves. You are overworked, overwhelmed. probably worried sick. I don't, honestly, if my kids were little right now, I would be so torn about how to educate them, what to do for them, what would be right. Um, and I can't imagine the angst that you're feeling. And I would just say that breathe, talk to your friends, get support, um, make sure that you're tuned into what's really true and not getting, sidetracked with things that aren't true. And just keep yourself educated for the sake of your kids and your own parents as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do think families, I want to just throw in a couple things that they need to get back if they haven't ever done it or they've done it before, is in that space of gratitude and holding each other in that higher space of appreciation. I feel is very important right now. Um, I know that parents are facing, if they have younger kids going back to school, really college age too, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally, I don't know. I can't, my kids are grown, so I'm not going to say, I'm not going to give my opinion
Mhm.
of what I would do. I think if my kids were young right now, I would be just like all other parents, not
Yeah.
knowing whether to send their
Yeah.
kids to school or not.
Right.
Yeah, I can't. I can
No,
say I can sit here and
opinion.
tell you
I
what
wasn't
I would do
gonna, yeah,
now.
yeah. I wasn't going to
We
give an
can't.
opinion
We
because you can't
can't
put
do.
yourself in someone else's shoes like that. But
Yeah,
when I imagine it, it feels really awful. So I really, my heart
yeah,
goes out.
it does.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
It does. And that, so I won't say any more than that. But other than we need to get back to having faith and gratitude and go within to find that power and strength. Know that your power within, that divine being that you are, is stronger than anything that's being thrown at us. And
Absolutely.
we have to find that strength to know that it doesn't matter what you're reading and what's going on and what side you're on and where you are. Get recentered. Get recentered, that you don't give in to that. Don't give in to that fear. Don't give in to all this that's out there. Stay focused on your divine self and take the tips that we're talking about to the next level. Take it and stay focused. And I really do believe what you said, Susan, about that grounding every day. Is this the best use of my time? Is
Right.
this the best use of my talent?
Hmm.
You know, is this idea that I'm trying to do really what is best? So, in the scatteredness of life that keeps being presented, that keeps us in that trauma and the scarcity and in the overwhelm that throws us off of being organized, of getting things done, is to get regrouped,
Absolutely.
recentered for sure. Yeah. And so people can find you. Can you please share us your website?
Highlyprofitablepractice.com is the website.
And you can find Susan on Facebook at Susan. Is it Susan Paulson Epstein? Is
Epstein.
that how?
Susan Paulson Epstein. Yes.
What?
Epstein. You had it
Yes.
before.
Okay.
Susan Paulson Epstein. Yep.
Okay.
That's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Also, Highly Profitable Practice on Facebook as well. And I'm on LinkedIn. Same name.
Good.
Yeah.
That same way. And I can be found at judyjewett.com. You can go there and download a free report that are tips that we haven't talked about today, that are 5 tips to help ground and center you. And it is the same report that might say 5 hacks. And the hacks is just used because that's a more modern word to say, hey, get centered. Don't get into this energy that things are crazy and that you're out of control. It just tells you simple ways that you can get yourself reset, centered and grounded. And the free report is something you might find very interesting. You can also go to judydjewett.com and sign up for a 30-minute discovery or strategy session, however it's worded there. It changes depending on what site you're going to or what page you're going to. And I'll spend some time with you and I'll go over ways I will use my intuitive gifts to help you tap into really what is going on and help you get refocused and recentered. Stay tuned today. In the next, let's see, it's 20 to 1 by 2 o'clock. I'm going to be live again, and I'm going to start the process of helping people to heal some of this trauma, the overwhelm, the anxiety, to take you into that in a group setting, obviously, because I'm going to be doing it live, but I'll take you through that on the other end of what you can do to release some of this. And I will begin the process today. So with that, thank you very much. Susan, I honor you. I appreciate you. I love talking to you. You're the kind of person, honestly, I could just sit and talk to you all day.
Thank you so much.
You are such an expert at what you do, and you really have that leadership energy, that mother energy to help people get refocused and to get grounded and to take their business to the next step, or take their parenthood skills to the next step, whatever. You do it all. And I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me today.
Oh, thank you. Here we go. And everyone have a fabulous, wonderful day. Please share our segment, our episode with all your friends and family and people that you know. Thank you.